What up, y'all? Welcome to the Texas Sports Unfiltered post-game show. I am Zay Collier. He is Rodney Rodriguez. Brought to you by Covert Bee Cave and Audiovisual Consultations. Texas goes 3-1, headed into Florida with a 55-0 victory over the Sam Houston Bearkats. It was a brutal one, and I say that in the best way. Arch Manning looks like he got that swagger back. He talking mess to mother effers. He talk around. He just, shrugging his shoulders a little bit. He walking with a limp a little bit. It's beautiful to see. I get it. Everybody's going to say it's Sam Houston State. They're one of the worst defenses in the nation, one of the worst passing defenses in the nation. I don't give a damn, Ronnie, if it was School of the Blind. Texas needed this. Arch needed this, and it was nice to see them have some success and maybe carry that momentum into the SEC, getting Ryan Wingo going. Arch, the running backs had a really good game, all three of them, Gibson, Clark, Simon, seeing the backups come in, Matthew Caldwell with a hell of a run, and then just this defense continuing to be the identity of this Texas team. I mean, if the offense struggles, which you still – even though you feel great about this performance, again, it's Sam Houston. So you just never know. Florida's defense is serious, but at least you got maybe the best defense in the nation to hang your hat on. Again, I don't care who you're playing. If you put up a donut against the opposing team, they don't put up no points on you, gain no traction, no momentum. Hey, your defense is pretty good. That's what this Texas team is, and they handled their business heading into that bye week, Double R.
Right there with you, man. And Zay, always a pleasure to do this with you, my man. But I've said this, for a little bit, to where you get a bunch of teams around the country that go out and they do exactly what Texas did tonight. And, it's never a second thought about beating up on, Alabama wins 77-0. And you see it all the time. And it's never a question. It's like, okay, Alabama's doing this or whatever. Texas needed this game. I mean, this is something that we thought that we would have probably witnessed this a couple of weeks ago, coming out of Ohio State. But just they've needed that get right game. And I think what this did is you really saw where things started to mesh. I mean, like you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, the quarterback seemed in sync. I mean, and the funny thing about it is you can really go and we'll dig into this, here on the postgame show. But I mean, it kind of started out again, Zay, the passes were behind the receivers. I mean, Arch comes out and it's like, oh man, here we go again. I mean, for a third straight week, you're coming in against a subpar opponent and you're coming out and you're looking pretty much like dog shit. But I mean, it's just things started to happen and the attitude changed and you come out and I'm really glad that they didn't take the foot off the gas. I mean, because you did. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of coming up and beating up on somebody like Sam Houston, but I think this team, for the psyche, they needed to get that done. And now you got a bye week. You can just kind of relax, let your hair down, and start thinking about what's coming up, because it's about to get real damn interesting from here on.
Yeah, very interesting. And hit us up on the Coda text line, 512-222-9328. Yeah, you need Contravian Wisner to get back healthy, CJ Baxter, all those guys. It was nice seeing DeAndre Moore on the field. I thought he played well, and, Arch hit him on that beautiful crossing route. DeAndre Moore, 5 catches, 79 yards. But, yeah, the story of the game is Arch Manning, 18 for 21, 309 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground, and the one that a lot of Texas fans are going to remember is when he shrugged off the dude in the end zone for that first rushing touchdown and got into his face, which I'm all about that. Like, that's what this team needed to see in Arch. That's what this coaching staff needed to see in Arch. And that's what Arch needed for himself. Like, yeah, it might have not been the most classy move, but this ain't a classy sport. Let's keep it a buck.
Right.
This is football. It's a violent game. The whole taunting thing, I'm old school, man. If you could shit talk and you could get in somebody's face, let it happen. That's what the sport's all about. Like, let's take it to the streets. Arch Manning, you from New Orleans, dog. I get it. You lived a privileged life. Your parents worked very hard to give you the life that you got. But, hey, you got some toughness to you, and your team needed to see that, and he showed that tonight. And he was accurate, Double R. The anticipation on those throws, man, they were there. Him and Ryan Wingo, that post route for that deep 50-some yard throw, that was a thing of beauty. Like, just seeing those plays, now he knows in his head, even though the competition is going to be different than Sam Houston State moving forward, now he at least knows, okay, I can play this game. I'm fine. The ball was hitting guys in the numbers. You know, when there was guys getting in the backfield, like on the Jordan Washington touchdown, he escaped the pocket and maneuvered very well. Dude was on his heels about to get him from the edge, and he stepped into the pocket and made that throw down the field wide open to Jordan Washington for a touchdown. So the game was coming slow to him tonight, and that's what he needed. That's what this Texas team needed. And hopefully they can carry this momentum on, get right from the bye with their health, and see what's happening when they go to Gainesville, because that's going to be a tough one.
That's right. And the dude, you know, the guy in the end zone that Arch was kind of standing over there, you know, I see all the talk about, man, it's Sam Houston or whatever. That just happened to be the one dude that got all the pin-up aggression that this kid's been dealing with. I mean, think about everything, you know, from the time that, you know, Ewers is gone. Okay, it's his job. It's his time to take over. Ohio State in the last couple of weeks. I mean, that dude just happened to be the guy. So, I mean, that's something that dude's going to be able to talk about for the rest of his life. He's like, I may have been the one that changed the whole career of this guy, because
that ain't nothing you brag about, Double R. What you mean?
No, but I mean, think about that. It's like
that got ran over by Arch Manning.
Yeah. I'm the dude that got run over by a tall ass white dude, and it maybe made him, you know, that relevancy that he was supposed to have. But and the thing about it is, you know, like I was talking about at the beginning of the game, he did seem to where I'm watching his mechanics and he's not planting his feet. He looks unsure of himself. I saw a couple of sidearm throws at the beginning of the games, and then it's like once everything started, what you're talking about, when everything kind of started to go in the direction that where everything felt right again, you didn't see that anymore. I mean, you saw these lasers that he's letting go, and you mentioned hitting dudes right in the number. I mean, you saw that shit that we haven't seen all year, and it's just so funny how it takes one little thing. And there have been a couple of different times during the season where I thought that maybe I saw that one thing that was going to turn the light on, but then the light was shut off. But tonight, the light came on, and then that somebody was LED, because it was bright. It was bright, and there was no lit up in him. And the dude seemed aggressive. The dude seemed like he was having fun. And I think that's the biggest part of what he needed to get back to.
Yeah, Steve Sarkisian is going to probably have to ice something on his body, because Arch pushed the shit out of him.
Yeah, you see that?
Yeah, he pushed the hell out of him. I was like, damn, Arch. I get it being fired up, but damn, man, that's a coach right there. But I'm sure Steve Sarkisian appreciated it with the way that Arch Manning played. And yeah, that first drive, you know, it started off slow, like you mentioned, Double R. Like, first throw you have, it gets tipped, which it almost turned into a turnover.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that 3rd and 9 was huge, because you got DeAndre Moore on that drag crossing route. It was low, but it was still a completion. So right then, that was kind of an exhale moment, like, okay, 3rd and 9, that's a big time down. I get a completion. We're moving the chains. He had a beautiful, one of those famous Steve Sarkisians, a fake left, throw right screens that went for 16 yards to Christian Clark on that drive. Then he hit Parker Livingston when Connor Robinson, who was the fresh center in the game, filling in for Cole Hudson. Cole Hudson needs to get right, too, before the Florida game. But he had Parker Livingston, that 15-yard out route. And then, you know, Gibson, couple of really good runs, then the Gibson touchdown. So, you know, just seeing this team, they needed that drive. They needed a 12-play, 76-yard drive to where, yeah, we got dealt with adversity and the penalties, which is still a problem, Double R, even against Sam Houston when you went 55-0, just too many penalties, man. 9 for 70 yards. You go back to San Jose State where they had 12 penalties for 115 yards. You look last week against UTEP, they had 7 penalties for 78 yards. And then Ohio State, the least amount of penalties, ironically, it was just 6 for 50 yards. But if you remember in that game, those penalties were very just costly and timely. So that's the thing that you worry about the most headed into SEC play, because as talented as this team is, they're very undisciplined on the offensive side, just self-inflicting wounds, shooting themselves in the foot. And even though this offense looked good tonight, I expect them to take a step back because Florida's defense, they got a little bit more pride. And even though they've had a tough go these last 3 weeks, losing 3 straight to South Florida, LSU, and now Miami, they're still going to give Texas everything they want. Their defense is solid. DJ Lagway, he has his own issues going on right now. So that's what I'm sure Steve Sarkisian and his coaching staff is going to put a point of emphasis to is, yo, guys, we got to play cleaner football because the defense, man, I don't know what else to say about the defense, man. They're just trying stuff at this point. Like there was a point in time where I saw Grayson Littleton on the outside. I saw Mookie Tav, Derek Williams, Jelani McDonald in at the same time. They put Ethan Burke as an interior lineman and have Trey Moore and Colin Simmons on the outside. Like this defense, Pete Witkowski, man, it's like eating lemon pepper wings, man. He's just licking his fingers and his chops because this defense is so versatile. And they have a blast, man. They knew, holding a shutout, even though it's Sam Houston, that's a big deal. And they played hard until the final whistle, even though second-string guys came in and did well. Saw Jonah Williams sighting. That's positive. Good for him getting back on the field, him dealing with a hamstring injury and all. But complimentary football. The offense looked good, but if we had to nitpick, which I don't even think it's nitpicking, I think this is an actual issue for this Texas football team. The penalties, that might be problematic for the future.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, you get to so often with the penalties. I mean, it's one thing. I had a football coach way back in the day when I played, like I always say, back when we had the leather helmets and no face masks. Back in the day where he's like, if you're going to commit a penalty, make it a real aggressive penalty. Make it worth the yardage that you're going to be penalized. But it's a lot of this pre-snap stuff, man. And, early in the game when you had that along the offensive line, it's like, man, here we go again. And it never – that's the one thing that as the game really came into Texas' favor and the offense really got their legs underneath them, a lot of that didn't change. So where you still had a lot of that. And it's the silly stuff. It's the silly stuff. And that's what drives the staff crazy. So you're going to have to go and clean that stuff up somehow. Because like you mentioned, I mean, it doesn't matter. Once you get into league play, Arkansas loses today. I mean, we're talking about Florida. Florida's kind of reeling right now, but it doesn't matter who you play with the environment because, look, the rest of the schedule, you're going to be on the road a lot, and you're going to get into these hostile environments to where the crowd will play into the fact that they know that you're prone to making these type of mistakes. And when that happens, they're only going to, what do they say, induce all of that. To try to help that. So you have to clean that stuff up. But I mean, it really was, I like the fact that Texas controlled the line of scrimmage. I mean, the offensive line was doing a phenomenal job, again, as they should. That's the thing that folks are going to go back to is you should have a dominating win. You should overpower the opposition, but you should have done that the last 2 weeks. It's just nice that it finally happened in such a dominating fashion as you send your team out on the road, because I can't overstress that it's about to get really hard. It's about to get really hard from here on out.
Yeah, but you got a lot of positives going your way. Like even though this offensive line, as you mentioned, with the penalties and stuff, the false starts, the holdings, they were able to move guys. And these running backs were able to go crazy a little bit. I mean, 41 rushing attempts for 264 yards, 6.4 a rush, You'll take that. And these young guys, man, even though I hate to see Travion Wisener and CJ Baxter not out there, now these three running backs, they got grand opportunities to earn a lot of trust from these coaches. You know, Chad Scott, he's definitely earning his paycheck his first year in as running back coach, taking over for Tashard Choice, because, hey, you got to get Christian Clark right. You got to get Jared Gibson right. James Simon, he's a freshman. I know the lights are hella bright for him right now, but the last two games that he's played, he's held his own. So these running backs, they got a lot of upside. You saw last week, they weren't hitting the holes in the right spots at the right times. They did a lot better this week, and that's what coaching's all about. You got to get better from week to week, even though the competition was absolutely garbage. You gotta keep that in perspective. Like, I keep telling myself, like, man, this team, this is what we could see double R. This is the same flow. This is national championship type stuff. And then I think, man, Western freaking Kentucky lit up Sam Houston. That quarterback had like 400 on them through the air. So Arch having his 300, even though it's positive and you'll take whatever you could get if you're the Texas offense and Steve Sarkisian at this point, you got to keep things in perspective. This is one of the worst defenses in all of college football, and that's not your fault. Texas did what they had to do, and, hey, they handled their business. So let's get to a quick scoreboard update brought to you by Gobundance. Texas football is built on legends, from Darrell K. Royal setting the standard to Mac Brown bringing home a national title to Vince Young and Colt McCoy leading by example. The Longhorn way is more than talent. It's about discipline, brotherhood, and rising to the occasion. And that same spirit is behind Gobundance, a community of high-achieving men, business professionals, investors, and leaders who push each other to win, not just in business, but in life. So if you're ready to live like a champion, then Gobundance is your team. Join the tribe today at www.gobundance.com/TSU. It's GOBUNDANCE.com/TSU. Yeah, this Texas team, they could use some of that Gobundance, you know what I'm saying? Because we need some discipline, all them penalties and stuff. But yeah, just around college football, it was a crazy day. Florida, Texas' next opponent, loses their third straight game. Miami's for real, though. Miami is really good. Miami wins 26-7. Very eager to see how Billy Napier handles these next 2 weeks leading up to Texas. Illinois gets curb stomped over and over again in Indiana, 63-10. Did not see that coming. Illinois came in as a top 10 team. If you're losing by 50, man, you are not a top 10 team.
Yeah.
That was a brutal game for Illinois. Shout out to Indiana. Kirk Cignetti, one of my favorite coaches in college football. They might be for real. They might just not be a basketball school.
Again.
Last year might not have been a fluke.
Zay, that's where sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to mention there that's where I think a lot of people, towards, like, you know, they're talking about different teams and they're like, that could be this year's Indiana, and I'm like, well, last year's Indiana maybe this year's Indiana again, right?
Rough. That was a rough go.
Ass
whooping. Probably the game of the day, Auburn goes down to the Sooners 24-17 in a very controversial game. About 3 plays were very odd in that Oklahoma game that went Oklahoma's way. There was seemed like a fumble early on. Wasn't called a fumble, was called an incomplete pass. Cam Coleman, just an obvious pass interference call. The refs kept the laundry in the pockets, and then somehow Oklahoma was able to run an illegal play where they faked the substitution, and John Mateer hit a dude down the sideline because Auburn thought the guy was out of bounds. So Oklahoma, hey, congrats, I guess, but y'all got lucky today. Tennessee handles their business against UAB 56-24. Texas Tech, Will Hammond, boy, 34-10 against Utah. Baron Morton goes out the game. Will Hammond comes in and slings that thing. Where'd Will Hammond go? He's from the ATX. Where'd he go? Was he Hutto?
I think Will Hammond was a hippo. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah, the
hippo,
Hutto
right?
Hippo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will
Yeah.
Will Hammond, Joey McGuire. This might be the worst thing for Joey McGuire. You're 4-0, and you might have a quarterback controversy.
Yeah. How about
Straight
that?
up. Like I mean, hey, I don't make the rules. What I saw today, Will Hammond was doing his thing. He was slinging that thing all over the place, man. Kyle Whittingham, they didn't know what to do. So I'm sure Joey McGuire is going to be responsible and say Baron Morton's our guy. But shit, Rodney, if I'm anybody tampering, screw tampering. There ain't no such thing as tampering in 2025. Whoever Will Hammond's agent is,
I'm calling that dude.
I'm calling him.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. You think if I'm Dabo Sweeney, which Clemson lost again today. Syracuse got him. If I'm Dabo Sweeney, K. Klubnik gone. You need something, Dabo. You need something. I don't know what's going on down there, but I'm hitting up Will Hammond and saying, yo, son, we got some NIL money for you.
That's right.
I know Texas Tech does, but yeah, so that's the scoreboard update brought to you by Gobundance.
And that's one of the games we talked about yesterday, to where it's like, okay, who's going to solidify themselves as the Big 12 favorite? And I thought that coming out of that, and I really thought it was going to be Utah. I really thought that it would be Utah. But again, with Will Hammond, I called some of that dude's games when he was at Hutto, and it was like, I remember the whole path that dude was on. Honestly don't know what happened, where he may have, but he's young. I mean, he's young, but the fact that he's come in there and put himself in that spot, that's definitely, there's a distraction for Tech right there. That's what could distract them from winning the Big 12, is trying to figure out who needs to be their quarterback, right? But that is the thing. You get that dude on the line, and it's like, shit.
Baron Morton went out early, R. Like, this is
early.
one of those, you're not supposed to win that game. If you're Joey McGuire, which hell of a job by him. I know they paid a lot of money, Cody Campbell, all the money that he's put in as a booster for that roster and the success that they're having right now. But still, you got to coach those guys. And to bring in your backup and your backup light it up the way that he did, that's crazy. That's mad impressive. But
13 for 16, 169 and 2 TDs. Baron Morton had 2 also, but he had 2 INTs. So that's where it's like,
controversy. I love it. If I could do any type of hate watching on Tech, hey, I love it. As a Texas fan, we all hate watching that. But yeah, man, R. What else did you notice from this Texas football team tonight that maybe you haven't seen the first 3 games?
It just really was, to me, just the confidence. I mean, the confidence was there. I mean, the fundamental stuff, a lot of the fundamental stuff seemed to take care of itself, except the penalties. And what I really saw was, I like to look at the sideline stuff a lot, to where it's like when they pan over to the sideline and you see these dudes out there, you saw the excitement. I mean, you see Arch being the teammate that he's supposed to be. He's the leader. I mean, they talked about him and Wingo talked at the end of the game right there, to where Wingo said, I mean, this guy's our leader, and he acted like a leader tonight. And again, this isn't solely on Arch, but that is the dude he's going to catch all the limelight, and he's going to catch all the crap when things go wrong, which that's exactly what he's done. But this team really seemed to exude confidence tonight, which they have really lacked. This team, I mentioned this, I think a couple of weeks ago, to where they seem so mechanical and robotic to me on offense, to where it's like this. You know, and tonight they were playing loose. They were playing with confidence, and that's what they need. They were playing like the defense. They were playing like the defense did. And when you look at the defense, I mean, you watch that, dude. It's a thing of beauty watching those guys, man.
Yeah, you could tell the defense is competing against one another. Make plays to see who can make the most plays. And, you know, when Ant Hill, he's roaming around. Leonga with foul. You could tell he's taking that next step. Guys don't even try Malik Muhammad. Muhammad doesn't get tested. He hasn't been tested. Besides that hold that he had against Ohio State, Malik Muhammad, and he had that rough in the punter against San Jose State, but we're not going to count that. That wasn't a defensive possession. That's special teams. But still, like, Manny Muhammad's not getting tested very much because he has his side on lock. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Gilbo's getting better. at that outside corner every week. They can move around so many pieces. Jelani McDonald, how he rose up for that interception before halftime.
Great play.
You see him in the backfield for tackle for loss situations. Like, they're just, Mookie Taft's always going to be there. Like, they just have so many guys. And now Colin Simmons, him getting the sack first play of the game, like, that's a big deal. Brad Spence is getting a little taste of the action.
That dude was good tonight. That dude was really good tonight.
Just a lot of guys, man, a lot of pieces. Trey Moore had a sack. Like, the list goes on, man. I can name so many guys that were a part of Sam Houston putting up that donut. And it's very impressive to see. The offense, though, man, just think about the passes that Arch Manning completed today, opposed from what we didn't see against UTEP. Those deep out routes, those, quick hitters where they seem simple, but you got to be really accurate because you're fitting them in the sweet spots of the zone, man. You can't put it too far outside. You can't, put it too low, even though we had some low, completions. It got better. That deep post route to Ryan Wingo, the quick slant to Ryan Wingo for the touchdown, him maneuvering in the pocket and keeping his eyes open down the field, and also picking and choosing the time when to run it and when to keep the ball. Like, those things, you saw that tonight, and hopefully you can see that momentum moving forward. Texas beats the Bearkats of Sam Houston 55-0. I am Zay Collier. He is Rodney Rodriguez. Appreciate y'all for joining us late night for the Texas Sports Unfiltered post-game show, brought to you by Audio-Visual Consultations and Covert Bee Cave. Like, subscribe, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram. We're everywhere, man. Get the app. Y'all know how we do. Texas Sports Unfiltered, the best in the biz.
Yeah, it just seemed like the offense today, they were playing with a purpose. It seemed like once everything got on track, I mean, it seemed like the receivers were one-on-one with Arch, to where I saw our man Jay Williams from Sue Patrick mention on there that, guys were actually catching the ball. There were a couple of different times there to where, the pass may not have hit these dudes right in the numbers, but yet still they were able to make the catch, where I think in the last couple of weeks, that hadn't been there. And I think that was some of the uneasiness, some of the tightness that this group was dealing with. It really seems like, and I think the timing is perfect with the bye week and before SEC league play starts, the fact that maybe that cloud is maybe lifted off them a little bit, to where they're going to go in. You go into the bye week with a little bit of confidence. You go in there and you heal up some nicks and bruises and all that. You allow some people to get better. And I think at the same time, you allow your mind to get better as you get ready for the stretch run right here, because that's so important. And it really did seem like, where it was, once Arch got on track after the touchdown run, where he was kind of talking shit there in the end zone or whatever, that was kind of the whole thing, to where it was like you pop a balloon and it's like, boom, everything just started going in the right direction. And maybe that's the play that changes a year. I don't know, but it sure as hell seemed like it tonight, because that was a definite turning point.
Shout out to Ryan Niblett, too. I thought Ryan Niblett was solid. Returns, when he was on the offense and they gave him that quick screen and he almost made it into the end zone. Ryan Niblett needs more touches. However you could get Ryan Niblett more touches, they gave him a handoff in the backfield. So, he's a versatile player. I know there's only one ball and you got a lot of guys you can get it to, but Ryan Niblett, he showed why he deserves more touches, and I thought he had a solid game tonight. So let's get to our offensive player of the game, Double R, brought to you by Clean Cause. Our friends at Clean Cause are on a mission to energize lives with a purpose. They are crafting refreshing, better-for-you, sparkling herba mate beverages that deliver a clean caffeine boost without the crash, because the crash is so brutal, man. You feel good at the moment, but then that afternoon crash comes and you're ready to hit the snooze, and that's just, nobody wants to be like that. Clean Cause, they won't make you like that, because they're the best. Beyond energy, they're built on impact. 50% of the profits go to fund addiction recovery, housing scholarships, giving each sip a greater purpose. They have donated over $3.8 million as a community, and they are just getting started. And they got a bunch of new flavors too, like the strawberry lemonade zero with 0 calories and 0 sugar. Their packaging is new and different, and it really pops. You can't miss it, and you can find it at your local grocery stores, convenience stores, or anywhere across town, or online at cleancause.com. Double R, your Clean Cause offensive player of the game.
Zay, I'm going with the low-hanging fruit right here because I'm as hard on him as anybody else, and I'm going with quarterback 16. I got to say that, everything. He and Colin Simmons to me are kind of the guys that are kind of the orchestrators of this team. These are the guys where all the attention's on them, and they both struggled starting out the season. And I think the results of this team, even though you only have the one loss, which was a good loss, if you even want to call it that, but the fact today, Arch Manning, the Arch Manning that we saw today is the Arch Manning that can really propel this team into doing some really special things. All of these goals are still in front of him, and the goals that they have in front of him are when you have the Arch Manning that you had today, 18 to 21, 309, 3 touchdowns, two rushing touchdowns. I mean, this is the guy. This is the guy. This is the Arch Manning that we've been waiting for all this time. And it is, the narrative. It's going to be, it's Sam Houston. I don't care. I don't care if it's Sam Houston, Lake Travis, Hayes Consolidated. I don't care who he does it against. You come on out here. You come on out here and you show people who you are. And I think that it was that kind of that bitch slap in the face to where it's like, here's Arch. Here's what you're going to get the rest of the year. Got to go with Manning, man. I'm so proud of that kid tonight.
Yeah. I mean, Lake Travis and Westlake will probably give this Sam Houston name.
I was thinking that. I was thinking
disrespectful that. Sam Houston, but I don't give a damn. That was awful what y'all showed tonight. I know Texas is good, but still. I'm with you, Double R. Like Arch Manning, he needed this game more than anything. Love his fire, screaming on the bench, talking shit, pushing Sark. That's what football is all about. And I love that. He talked to Colt McCoy this week, talk to the uncles this week, talk to guys that have been there and done that, even though they don't know exactly how you feel, it's still relatable for all of those guys that I just mentioned, from Peyton Eli, Colt McCoy, what he had to, just endure here at the University of Texas. Talk to those guys who it's just relatable for you. And he looked just at ease tonight. Sark put him in the right spots to be successful. His receivers helped him out, and that's why my offensive player of the game, brought to you by Clean Calls, goes to Ryan Wingo. I thought Ryan Wingo, he had his it game of the season thus far. 4 catches, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then he had that reverse for 32 yards where you really got to see that speed. And this guy, he's a game changer, man. When he gets the ball in his hands, you could tell he has an it factor about him that nobody else on this wide receiver room has. I love Parker Livingston. I love DeAndre Moore, but just the size and the speed that Ryan Wingo has, it's very rare. And you got to get him touches and you got to get his confidence up. Hopefully we saw that. I thought I saw that after the UTEP game too, or toward the end of the UTEP game, where he had that goal line out route, which was beautiful pass by Arch Manning. Hopefully that ignited something to carry on in this week and beyond. But Ryan Wingo, he's just a special type of player. And I think he just needed that confidence boost, just like Arch, just like Colin Simmons, to what you just said, Rodney. And now, sky's the limit for him. Ryan Wingo, keep doing your thing, dog. You're trying to get All-American SEC. Why not him? You know what I'm saying? Why not Ryan Wingo? Why not any of these guys? So, appreciate you, Texas. Appreciate everybody for rocking with us on the post-game show, man. But, Ryan Wingo, Arch Manning, big-time games tonight, and they deserve the love that they're getting.
And I think a lot of it is, for these guys, I mean, just kind of that relationship to get it to where it needs to be. And that's where when kind of we talk about the expectations that everybody had for Arch and the expectations for Wingo because of what Ryan did last year. But it wasn't number 16 throwing the ball to Ryan last year. It was a different guy. And this goes back to a whole different debate to where it's like for the fact that people don't want to give Quinn Ewers any credit for what he did around here. That was his guy. I mean, he was the one that kind of really brought that out in Wingo. So it was going to take a little bit to get this figured out. And I got to tell you, just with this whole body language thing that I'm talking about, those two guys after the games, sitting there talking to the postgame reporter, you see those guys and you can feel the confidence they have in each other right now. Yeah. I mean, they're very loose. I mean, you saw a little back slapping and all this stuff to where everything seemed pretty tight and timid before. So I think some barriers got broken. And the other thing too, where you mentioned the conversation with Colt, I mean, for Arch, I think the thing is where being in that position at Texas to where you have to lean into those relationships if you have them, because if you're having a problem as this once in a lifetime quarterback at UT, you're going to have Colt McCoy reaching out to you. You're going to have Vince Young reaching out to you. And I thought I'm sure you saw this during the week, that Twitter post from David Ash.
Yeah.
Where it's like, dude, that was reading that. I wanted to put that right in front of Arch and say, look, dude, take a look at that right there. That's from a dude that lived this shit that you're going through right now.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah, David Ash, shout out to him, man. That was a very moving tweet that he put out this past week talking about Arch Manning and how he has his back, just like a lot of other faithful Texas X's out here got Arch Manning's back. And yeah, Arch played like it today. He played like he had love. He played like the way his teammates were, cheering him on and hype for him, talking shit and being in homeboy's face. Like, that's big for the locker room.
It's huge.
That's huge for the locker room, man. No matter who they play, we got to continue to say that.
Yeah.
You'd love to see it. Love to see it. All right. Time for the defensive player of the game, brought to you by Kenfield Golf Cars. If you're in the market for a new or pre-owned golf cart, got great news for you. Our friends at Kenfield Golf Cars are right around the corner. Kenfield's founded back in 1979, and they have an unparalleled selection of different golf carts available, new or used. So if you have any really cool golf cart ideas for a fresh new one, or you want all the gadgets and stuff, you want top of the line, Kenfield can do that. If you have an existing golf cart that you want to take in and get all the bells and whistles, just put into your used golf cart, they could do that too. No job is too big for this team, and they will turn any of your existing golf cart designs into exactly what you want. Nobody does it better than Kenfield Golf Cars. Check out their website at kenfieldgolfcars.com and give them a call at 512-258-8515 and tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. Double R, your player of the game, brought to you by Kenfield Golf Cars.
Zay, when you get in a game like this to where you win, at 55-0, that's the one thing that it affords guys to do is get on the field and get a chance to make big plays. And with the defensive player of the game that I'm going for from Kenfield Golf Cars, I got to go with Brad Spence, man. You want to talk about somebody that gets in there and makes the most of the time that they're going to get. 2 TFLs, there's a sack, 3 solo tackles. I mean, this dude made the most out of the time that he was going to get. And these were big time plays. This wasn't something where, it maybe it was garbage time. It was garbage time, but he gets in there and there was no lit up or anything that was coming out of Sam Houston at that point. And this dude gets in there and he makes plays, and that just adds to the depth of the defense, an already deep defense. And then you see this guy. What does that tell me? That tells me, okay, when we get into league play and you get into the trenches and you get into these massive road games that are coming up and you need somebody to get in there and spell somebody to give them a blow or two, this is a guy that you can count on to not only go in there and be to keep up the momentum of what you're doing, you put this dude in there and he's probably going to make a big play.
Yeah.
And that's something really good to lean on. Just goes to the depth of Pete Krakowski's defense. So got to go with Brad Spence, man. And I'm glad to say that because I love those dudes that get in there and make the most of their time.
Yeah, I like it. The Arkansas transfer,
Yep.
he came in as a linebacker. They got him more on the line as an edge guy. And as of now, it's been very beneficial to not only him, but this Texas defense. And Rodney, you got to be coachable, man. Like he could have said, no, Sark, I'm not really feeling this. I came in as a linebacker.
Right.
Y'all bamboozled me. Now y'all got me on the line. What if I don't want to do that? And you can tell that's not the type of player he is. I don't think anybody on this Texas defense is like that because it's all about the team. And that's what you got to look for when it comes to the recruiting process, whether it's high school or the transfer portal. Are you coachable enough to know that us as coaches know the best for you? So you might be uncomfortable because you were in a position and playing a position that you aren't quite used to. But based on everybody else on this roster and things that we see in you as a player, we're going to move you around and we're going to find what you do best so it can help our ball club. And Texas, I think they do that as well as anybody in the nation, whether it's Grayson Littleton. You saw last year with Jahdae Barron, him moving from that nickel spot to the outside. This year, you're seeing it from Jalen Gilbo. You see, Anthony Hill moving around from linebacker to the line, Trey Moore. Like, I could basically name everybody on this defense. Is in different spots throughout the game just because the versatility is there. And Brad Spence, he's one of those guys that's embraced it. Like, you got to be able to embrace those types of things. And when you have just everybody on the same page, that's what championship teams are made of. I think that's a big reason why this defense is so in sync and so good, because everybody knows their role and everybody embraces their role. So Brad Spence, I like that pick, Rodney, for your Kenfield Golf Carts Defensive Player of the Game. I'm going to go with Jelani McDonald. He had that interception that didn't mean anything, but it just showed the athleticism. It just showed the ball skills. And
way up there to get that.
Way up
there to get that.
At like his size, man, over 6'2", just roaming around. He's in the backfield, tackle for losses. He's wearing number 4 now. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I think it's Andrew Makuba out there.
Same thing, dude.
I have to
same thing.
Andrew Makuba's in the league. Like, this guy, just as good as Andrew Makuba. Like that, he has that it factor too, to where you can trust him anywhere on the field. You can see him at that linebacker spot at times. You see him playing that star spot, normal safety, blitzing in the backfield. It's just, he's a part of that versatility that I've talked about. I think he's going to have a huge SEC season, and I'm glad that Texas fans are slowly seeing how good he is. Back-to-back weeks with an interception. Like, that's big time. He's leading the team in INTs right now, and I think it's just going to go up from there. So my Kenfield Golf Carts Defensive Player of the Game, Jelani McDonald.
And that's a great point that you make right there, because I see it even at the high school level, and Texas does just an exceptional job of doing this, to where you see guys that are playing along the defensive front, and it's like, that's not a defensive lineman. That dude is not built like a defensive lineman, or you see a linebacker and it's like that guy can't play linebacker, but you know what? He's got to drop back in coverage. He's got to do all these different things. I called a game last night where there's a kid that plays linebacker, where I say that dude is not a linebacker. He needs to be in the secondary. He got a pick 6 last night, took it back 39 yards. That's the aggressiveness that you talk about right there. Even with the edge guys, to where it's like, that dude is way too big to try to come off of the edge. But still, at the same time, they're able to make that happen. So, yeah, that's where you have a defense that relies on speed and strength like Texas does. That they do a really good job of maneuvering these guys around and having different packages for them. And never more evident than tonight.
Yeah. Time for the offensive play of the game, brought to you by Paul's Motor Works. Paul's Motor Works, they've been providing complete foreign and domestic automotive repair in the ATX since 2000. For 25 years, they've specialized in BMW, Mini Cooper, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, Porsche, and plenty more. But they can work on any make or model. It doesn't have to be any of those cars I named. It can be any car that you have, from oil changes to tire rotations to major repairs. Don't trust anyone with your car. Trust the great people at Paul's Motor Works. Your search for a good mechanic, over with. Just go see Paul and the team down there off 2222, right off of 620, and find them online at pmwaustin.com. Double R, your offensive play of the game, brought to you by Paul's Motor Works.
Got to go with it, Zay, and I think it may actually end up being maybe, again, early exaggeration right here, maybe the play of the year to get things going in the right direction, the arch to Wingo 57-yard touchdown, whatever that was. Initially, when it happened, I saw that, and it's like, and my first thought, Zay, was like, that's a hell of a job by Wingo, because the pass seemed a little long. It seemed like he had to stretch out and do whatever. And then once I saw the replay, which regardless, it was a hell of a play by Ryan Wingo, but that son of a gun was laid right in the breadbasket. Yeah. That is an NFL caliber throw right there to a guy where only your dude is going to catch it. You could not have done that any better. And that was after you had already had all the confidence that was in place. And that's where you saw the footwork and everything begin to calm down. And those guys seem to be on the right wavelength with one another, whatever word you want to use. So I have to go with that one, because I really think that's a thing that kind of shifted maybe the confidence that they have in one another, to where it's like, okay, I know if I can get myself in position, maybe I'm not wide open, but maybe I'm not completely behind the coverage. But if I can get myself in a position, this dude's going to lay it out to me to where when I look up or I look over, it's going to be sitting right there, because that's exactly what happened right there. You couldn't have drawn that up any more perfect. The speed from Wingo, everything. It seemed like guys that have been playing together for about 4 or 5 years on that one play right there.
Yeah, it was a thing of beauty, man. You got very delicate pass right there, because it has to have the right height, it has to have the right type of air on it. And you have to have a wide receiver that has really good ball skills, that not only can beat the defender, but also go track it down for, just so much has to go right on those type of plays. And you've been waiting on it. We know Sark likes to call those deep shots, and sometimes it's just good to throw even if it's incomplete, because it keeps the defense honest. But you just haven't seen that much the first 3 weeks for them to hit it tonight, even though it's against the top 5 worst defense in the country. It's still promising that, okay, if they are in those situations again, you like Texas throwing that ball. Hell of a catch by Ryan Wingo. Hell of a pass by Arch Manning. For me, Double R, I'm going to go with the Jordan Washington touchdown. The 32-yard touchdown, just because Arch did such a good job of improvising in the pocket. You come off of that play action, and that edge rusher, he was on your heels.
Yeah, he was.
Arch didn't step up in the pocket. And again, keep your eyes down the field, because he could have ran it. He could have ran it for like 7, maybe a 10-yard gang, slid, kept the chains moving. But for him to keep his eyes open and know that Jordan Washington would be down the field, that's a comfort level throw. That's a big time play that you got to make. And for him to make that play, you like the promise there. So I'm going to go with that. Jordan Washington, congrats to him on catching his first touchdown. I think as a Texas Longhorn, he seems like he's becoming that second tight end after Jack injuries. That's what you start to notice the first 4 weeks. Who's getting more playing time than others? Where are you seeing guys placed and whatnot on the field? And Jack injuries, he's tight end number 1, but Jordan Washington seems like he's turning into tight end number 2. I think that's solid for him, good for him, and we'll see what he could do with that.
And that's, that goes back to the whole Arch conversation, to where when you start seeing him in sync with guys other than injuries as the tight end, I mean, that just opens up so many different avenues for this offense. I mean, you can go to a 2 tight end set. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do, afforded the situation, because you're going to get a lot of things that are going to be thrown at you. And it just really was just everything tonight, just the productiveness of the running game, the continuity of the receivers with Arch, and the just dominance of the defense. I mean, that's really the underlying conversation tonight, where it's like that perfect game that we've been waiting for. It's kind of nice tonight, Zay, where we're sitting here talking about offensive plays of the game and offensive players of the game, to where it's like, well, shit, I got a list. Let me figure out who it is.
Right.
To where before it's like, oh, this is pretty easy.
Yeah.
There's 2 to pick from.
Good point. Good point. Yeah,
right.
I was going through the list trying to think.
Yeah.
I was about to throw Matthew Caldwell up there for that run that he had showing the Blazers.
He fooled the cameraman. You see the cameraman,
Mr. Cameraman guy, too hard, man. I was like, yo, what y'all doing? But Matthew Caldwell selling that fake, man. Matthew Caldwell, he's got a little bit. I ain't trying to see him at all, unless it's moments like that where the game's over. But, he got a little bit, a little juice.
Yep.
RRR, time for the defensive play of the game, brought to you by Moonshine, Patio, Bar, and Grill. Moonshine, Patio, Bar, and Grill is a place that takes you back to a simpler time. Comfortable, familiar, relaxed, and easygoing. Moonshine greets guests like family, serving up a great cooking experience with innovative takes on classic American comfort food. Moonshine's menu satisfies even the biggest of the city tastes. Fantastic dinner and fantastic weekend brunches. 20 years and counting. You're going to love the Moonshine experience. 2 locations, downtown and Avery Ranch. Complimentary valet parking during the weekday as well. And hey, Avery Ranch, that's the one I go to. Love that one. Go with my wife, shrimp and grits. And chicken and waffles, just on point. Moonshine, they're the best. Go to moonshinegrill.com for more information to make a reservation. Double R, your Moonshine Patio Bar and Grill defensive play of the game.
As much as I want to say, I mean, I think the best feel-good play of the night was Brady Sarkisian. Right there at the end of the game. That's the one that I really want to pick. And that's where you get to a 55-0 game, to where it's like, damn, I really need to go with that one. You see Sark on the sideline? Oh, that
was cute.
That was all right, right?
Adorable. Yeah, that was very wholesome.
Yeah. My heart was pumping peanut butter there for just a minute watching that. I'm like, that's all right there. I like that. Good for that dude. But I got to go with and you talked about the play a while ago. I mean, it didn't, in the big picture of everything, it really didn't mean much. But damn, it was just a badass play and a hell of an effort, I think, and it just kind of solidified and dropped the hammer on what was about to happen. I got to go with the Jelani McDonald interception, because it was just a hell of an individual effort to go up there and make that play. And the fact where we're talking about where he's solidifying himself is just so great in the secondary right now, in a secondary to where talking about at the beginning of the year, to where it's like, okay, maybe that's a little bit of a question mark. I really don't have a question mark about it whatsoever at this point. But that McDonald play, man, it was just, when you go and you watch it in replay, it's like the elevation that dude got up there to be able to hold on to that football in one-on-one, the coverage that he had right there. It was just spectacular, man. Probably wouldn't be the play of the game in a close game, but it was just too damn great to not be the play of the game for me.
Yeah, he's so bouncy, man. He might be one of the most athletic players on this defense, and that says a lot. You're talking about guys like Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill on this defense, but when it comes to just freaky athleticism, he's right up there with a lot of those guys. I'm going to go with the Brad Spence tackle for loss on 4th down. Again, just Brad Spence, him getting in the mix, coming from Arkansas, changing positions in a way, and buying in and kicking ass when he gets his opportunities. I'm going to tie it. I'm going to say Brad Spence and Trey Moore sack.
Yeah, Trey Sack was really
Sack,
that
that
was
was
my
awesome.
second one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was awesome. That was a hell of a play. I'm glad to see him also moving positions a little bit, but they put him on the line when necessary. And again, just this defense, man, like they're just gonna get better too.
Yeah.
Like DJ Lagway, I don't know if he can fix whatever the hell he has going on because he only put 7 points against Miami. He only put up 10 points against LSU. So, and then 14 points against South Florida. So I don't know if he can solve whatever he has going in 2 weeks, but Texas is not the team to solve those things on.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about that defense going into the swamp. We got 2 weeks to talk about it. Can't wait to do it here with the best crew in the business at Texas Sports Unfiltered. All right, Double R, time for the final word, brought to you by Sue Patrick for the best selection of Texas Longhorn gear. You could go see our friends at Sue Patrick, located on 5222 Burnett Road here in Austin, Texas. Go online at SuePatrick.com. They have everything you want to rep the Texas Longhorns, from polos, Arch Manning jerseys, grilling accessories, golf balls, hats, and more. You want it, they got it. And plus, parking, easy, man. Giant parking lot.
Right
You
out
don't
front.
have to worry about that. I know a lot of folks like, what's the parking lot like? It's Austin. Hey, huge.
It's right
Huge.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, so take advantage. Now they got everything your burnt orange heart desires. And if you make a purchase online over $59, you get free shipping at SuePatrick.com. Go see our friends at Sue Patrick. Double R, your final word.
Zay, I think we're there, man. I think we're finally there at the point where we've been waiting for the team to kind of hit. I'm not going to say to their potential, because I think the sky's the limit with this group, but I think the offensive cohesion that we've been looking for, I think it really seems like it finally all came together. And it's just those little moments, those little things that happen in football. Football is such a physical yet emotional game to where little things can kind of just boom. You talk about hitting the light switch and turning it off. It seems like the light switch came on tonight. Again, I recognize the value of the competition. I know who Texas played tonight, but it just seems like coming out of this, they're oozing with confidence on the offensive side. I'm not going to question the defense like you were talking about. Florida, they better pack a lunch. They better pack a lunch. And I think that the way this thing all lays out, Zay, it's even better because I'm one of those dudes where I talk about in football to where it's like, okay, is a bye week a good time? And when the bye week falls, is it good or bad? Man, I think this is perfect. This is perfect coming off of some of those unanswered questions and other dudes getting reps. And here you go. You reset, you re-rack, and you get ready to go because you're in for the long haul right now. And you're going in with confidence and momentum, which I can't say that you had after UTEP last week. I think we're going in the right path here for this Texas football team.
Yeah, this is the path you want to go in with how the first 3 weeks were. And you're 3-1. You just finished the first phase of your season. I know Sark likes to break down the season in the phases with, the 3 phases of the bye week. So first phase, I'd give this team a B. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll take that. All that's really on Arch Manning and just how the struggles have been for him and this offense. But red zone issues, that seemed like a problem in previous seasons. I think this year, the Achilles heel Double R is the penalties.
Yep.
And that's been shown these last 4 games. I mean, the least amount of penalties you had was against Ohio State, your toughest opponent, and you had 6. San Jose State, unbelievable, 12. Last week you have 7, and then this week you have 9. So that has to get taken care of. I don't know how they're going to do that. Maybe it's a home thing that, like, when they play home, they just, they're not as locked in.
Night game. That's the other. Yeah.
I don't know, but that definitely needs to get taken care of. Got to get CJ Baxter, Katravian Wiesner, Cole Hudson, everybody healthy that you need healthy for this first game of the season. I expect Florida, they need this bye too, as much as anybody, for them to reset. losing 3 straight games. I know they're not trying to lose a 4th straight game. So offense looked great tonight. Arch Manning, 13 straight completed passes. Incredible, even though it's against Sam Houston State. I know y'all tired of being told. I'm saying we gotta say it, y'all. They're one of the worst defenses in the nation. Horrible.
They're bad. They're real bad.
Like record-setting bad. This defense, this passive defense. But again, you'll take it. You will take it with how this offense has looked. They're just gonna get better. You ride with this defense that's top 5 in the country, and hopefully this defense is going to win you some games, but this offense, they can continue to keep this swag and this momentum, and we'll see what happens. So that's the final word, brought to you by St. Patrick, Texas. 3-1, gets the dub over the Bearkats of Sam Houston, 55-0. Stay locked in for all of our shows during the week. Y'all know the schedule. If you don't, then check us out. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, Twitch, Instagram. Get the Texas Sports Unfiltered app. Follow us on Twitter. Y'all see our, all the information on, background and stuff. Y'all see. I
love how you said follow us on Twitter and X.
Yeah, some people call it different. We got some old heads that ain't with X yet. I don't know what they do, but hey, follow us. We're everywhere. We are everywhere. BK does a great job of putting us out there, but he is Double R, Rodney Rodriguez. I am Zay Collier. We'll be back. Post-game show gets Florida in 2 weeks. Y'all be cool.